Hi, another video on Brexit, and again it's an article from Truth Dig, and this one's by Natasha Hakimi Zapata, and it's a brilliant article. She perfectly understands what's going on with Brexit, and as it says here, in an unexpected ruling, the ECG decided that a country could turn its back on its invocation of Article 50 and leave things as they stood. In other words, the UK can still stay in the EU if it so chooses. The other momentous occurrence was that members of Parliament successfully demanded to see a full legal advice on the deal, as Corbyn alludes to in his critique. So, what we need really is a second referendum, because I think one thing that's perfectly clear, and it was made perfectly clear by the 700,000+ people that marched through central London a few weeks ago, a lot of the Leave voters have changed their minds because they're now better informed. And these Tories, they really did try to pull a fast one on Britain, you know, with all the lies and the slanders about immigrants and this and that. Absolute hogwash, the lot of it. We've actually got less sovereignty by leaving the EU than we had while we were in it. And certainly a lot weakened pound the minute we leave. And that is something serious for everybody to think about, considering that most of the products that British people consume come from abroad. So all the people who voted Brexit, I hope you're prepared to have steep price rises on your food and on everything else that you buy. I hope that it's worth it to you, considering that you were all very concerned about having to fork out benefits for illegal immigrants, okay? I hope you're all happy to fork out twice as much, possibly even quadrupled amounts for your food in order to keep immigrants out. You see, this is called cutting your nose off to spite your face, and that's why people who thoroughly understand exactly what is going on right now and the dangers this country faces, and why the next generation, the youth, are terrified of the future. Now you will start to understand the levels of anger that people are feeling towards these Brexiteers and their packs of lies and their total dim-witted, actually stupid arguments that don't make any sense, because they're clearly from people who really have not got a clue, who've just listened to Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson and whoever stood on the soapbox spouting out a load of shite, most of which isn't even true. And even if the small amount of it that is true is blown up out of all proportion. You're talking absolute xenophobia. And as I say, Jo Cox was murdered, stabbed through the heart by somebody who supported Brexit. It is outrageous. What this Tory government has done to this country is outrageous. Why they dumped this referendum on people at this point in time, when the country's already going through austerity and overnight slashed the value of our pound. Seriously, I'm sorry, they need locking up. Theresa May, David Cameron, Ian Duncan Smith, George Osborne all need to be on trial for crimes against humanity, because they have murdered British people through economic terrorism, and they have murdered people indirectly through their policies, through dumping this referendum, through giving a voice to this hard right extremism. And the BBC, Newsnight, you have a lot to answer for giving a full primetime Newsnight interview to the likes of Tommy Robinson. Yeah, there's some serious evil. It's actually evil that's been going down in this country. And as I say, I think that we need massive demonstrations in every city, massive protests in every city now. If you care about your children's future, you care about your human rights, your workers' rights, the food that you're eating on your plate, then you do need to come out and stand up and say, we want another referendum. Because this deal that she is considering doing I mean, it is just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Because we won't be getting even half the benefits that we were getting, and we're still going to be paying loads of money in. So, the Brexiteers won't be happy. Nobody's happy with it. The only option, really, is to have another referendum and let the British people, now thoroughly informed, have a chance to make up their own minds. Not their minds as made up by this idiotic character, Boris Johnson, and Cambridge Analytica. Okay? So those are the things that we need to do, and until that happens, we the people, we do not need to accept Theresa May's deal. Okay? She is a criminal. She needs to face criminal charges for manslaughter. Okay? Because that is what their policies amount to, manslaughter. People have died directly through her policies, directly through Cameron's policies, directly through the policies of Ian Duncan Smith, who we have on national TV record at a tribunal meeting inquiring about their benefits, so-called reforms, in which basically they've handed over the benefit system to private global corporations to make a profit out of. So, again, it seems British people who were moaning, the ones among them who were moaning about benefits, and I've got to work to pay benefits to people who aren't working and pretending to be sick. Well, actually, no, you are working now to contribute to the profits of people who are handling the paying out of the benefits, who are putting beggars on your streets, who are making you difficult to get from A to B in your town centre without having to, give money here, money there, go and buy a sandwich for so-and-so, to actually have to deal with the closed shops and the run-down communities and the rising levels of crime and the less of a police service, less of a fire service, less of every kind of service, a totally run-down NHS. Well, if you're happy to deal with all of that, and a hard Brexit, it is unthinkable. You're talking chaos. Personally, I don't want to have to rely on my local council to be providing me food. Okay? A hard Brexit is unthinkable. These people that were, sovereignty for Britain. I tell you, I'm sorry, I don't know where your head's at. Have you got a head? Have you got a head? Because if you did have a head, you would understand it's a bad, big bad world out there. And you leave the EU, you're going to have to get your food from somewhere. Where are you going to get it from? There's only a very few countries that we can actually do a deal with. The World Trade Organization takes over. There's no such thing as freedom in this world, and in the sense that Britain think that we can go back to, post-Thatcher Britain, where we've got, we're going to have our own factories, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. No, sorry, no, it doesn't work like that, people. Yes, the corporations will come in, they'll take over our services, they'll establish their factories. You'll work for them on 0-hour contracts. No, you won't be entitled to maternity leave. No, you won't be entitled to a pension. Will you even be entitled to sick pay? But it doesn't matter. You'll all get picked off one by one, just as the people, 120,000 people are dead. How many more? Really, that's the official figures. In real terms, you can double that. You can double it. Nobody sees the individual suicides, do they? The suicides among the NHS staff. You don't see that in your newspapers every week. You'll see what paedophiles done this or that, but what criminals done this or that, but you will not see all the NHS staff that are committing suicide. You won't see the people who've committed suicide because they've been made redundant, because they used to work for a government service that has now been handed over to a private corporation, and the first thing they do is slash 50% of the jobs. So it is a disaster. The Conservatives, I'm sorry, nobody, no single force of entity has done more damage to this country every time these evil bastards of humanity, because that is what they are, this government, get into power. They destroy Britain. They destroy our culture. It's them who are destroying our culture. The culture that was established by the people of World War II. A welfare state. Workers' rights. The rights to unionise. The rights to a living wage. The rights to an NHS and social housing. The right to live with dignity. And they've been attacking it. And if you think that Britain, outside of the EU now, was, it isn't going back to post-World War II Britain. No. You're talking Victorian Britain. That is where they're heading. Victorian Britain. They stated it very clearly in 2011, 2012, 2013. Austerity forever. Austerity is to be permanent, stated Cameron. And they want the British workforce to be competitive with that of Asia. Well, go and have a look at the Asian workforce. Go and have a look at the sweatshop factories. Welcome to the real world, people. Even immigrants won't want to do the jobs for the price that you get, the wages that you're going to be getting, which in real terms are going to drop, because a slashed pound means that your pound is only worth suddenly now 50p. So if the pound falls, your wages have fallen. Are they going to double your wages to make up for the fall in the pound? No, they will not. And this is what I mean. They'll have everybody on the equivalent of what the minimum wage was in the 1980s, which was what, £2.50 an hour or something. They will do it. Give them an inch and they will take not just a mile, but 10 miles. We know it. We've seen it. These people are evil. I'd be quite happy to leave the EU if Britain was prepared to invest in its own industries, if we were able to feed ourselves, if we were able to produce the things that we need to consume, if we weren't so heavily reliant on the EU for our food and all kinds of other products, medicines for our NHS as part of the common market. But you see, we're not. If we had a government that was prepared to still uphold our human rights and actually provide us with a justice system that did provide justice, I'd be happy. But no, we're not leaving for any of that. We're leaving to be totally under the control of Zionists and their banking corporation and their global banking funded global corporations, and they want to eat Britain like a pie. And they will spit out the bones. And they have been doing. They have been spitting out the bones, and we've been burying them under austerity. People are dead. Lives have been ruined. People have been made homeless. Elderly people not receiving proper care. It is just disgusting. It's disgusting. Beyond words. Beyond words. And, as if they haven't harassed and upset sick and disabled people enough. Oh, now they want everybody to be reassessed to have universal credit. Another garbage thing that they've rolled out just to give themselves more money and help themselves to more cash out of what really is the legal, lawful entitlement to British people who need it, not to be earning profits for a private global corporation. Like ATOS, for example. Get them out. Get them out. There's no reason why we can't stay in the EU and say, well, I'm sorry, no, we are not prepared to allow our benefit system to be handed over to a global corporation so they can make a profit out of the fact that people in Britain need to rely on a benefit service because they're ill, or because they're unemployed, because there's no jobs, because you corporate providers aren't actually providing jobs. You're taking over our services and you're slashing jobs. Where are these people going to work? Oh, are they going to go and stack shelves in Poundland for their JSA? Is that going to pay the mortgage? I tell you, if they tried to bring that in France, they'd be literally heads rolling. But Britain, yeah. There's so much hate floating around this country, it is untrue. And it really is. It is untrue because it's hate that's built on a pack of lies. And I tell you, you are going to jail. He is going to jail. I'm sorry, there's no other place. You are guilty of manslaughter. You have murdered British citizens with your evil economic policies. That is what you have done. And now you've broken the country with this referendum that you dumped on people that nobody was asking for. And I hope that the British people come out in full force of sanity and care for the children of tomorrow, and you bang your pots and pans, do an Iceland on this mad mob that is ruling Britain right now from so-called Parliament, which is a den of iniquity, siding with Saudi Arabia that's starving children in the Yemen. You evil, disgusting filth of a woman. That's what she is. When I look at those children, I think of you, Theresa May, you evil, disgusting woman, that you could have brought Britain so low to be supporting that in order to sell, what, 12 billion worth of weapons, you disgusting piece of filth. And now how much are we going to be paying to the EU just to have your crap, disgusting deal that won't even give us freedom of movement through the EU? I'm sorry. Yeah, I am angry, and everybody needs to be bloody angry as well. And I'm not angry, crazy angry, am I? I'm not threatening violence. I'm not blowing people up. I'm not setting fires in the streets. But I am telling people it is time to speak out and to drown out this xenophobic madness that is coming from the people that were, for one reason or another, persuaded to vote leave the EU when they haven't got a clue. They did not have a clue where they were going. Well, we don't know. What's going to happen then? We don't know. We don't know. Really, you're like a 5-year-old child that's packed your bags and decided to leave home. What's going to happen to you? Well, I don't know. How are you going to get your dinner? I don't know. Who's going to look after you? Where are you going to sleep? I don't know. I just know I want to leave and be independent. Well, go off then, you silly person. But no, people who love and care will say, no, sorry, darling, you are coming back. Because you're not capable of caring for yourself and you're actually at risk. Or, uncaring people will just sit back and say, well, they wanted Brexit. The child wanted to leave home, so we just let them leave. What, you didn't try to stop them? Well, no, because they really wanted to leave. Seriously, that isn't sense and sanity. That is not reason. That is a society bereft of reason, bereft of sanity, bereft of the courage of your own understanding and intelligence. Intelligence will not let us leave the EU, surely. Intelligence will demand another referendum and give us the choice to say, let's cancel Brexit. That needs to be the next vote. And if Parliament can't give it to us, then Parliament is a crock of shite. It really is a den of evil iniquity. And maybe in this country, Parliament needs to collapse, okay? If it's that sick and that twisted that it cannot put the vote now to the public, who the hell is she? The majority of people in this country didn't even vote for her. She had to have a coalition government. So that's where it stands, people. So it's up to you. You think about what you want to do. You think about your children's future. You think about what you are going to be able to buy off the supermarket shelves what's going in your fridge, how much you're going to pay for it, how are you going to live, and whose rules will you be living under then? Which rules do you prefer? The rules of the global corporations that want everybody working on 0-hour contracts? Or are you going to stick with the EU that at least upholds your human and your workers' rights?